Here's another video for the Q3 2022 for Voxtur. John from Unborrowed Times pointed out to me that the operating cash flow from operations in Q3 was positive. So I wanted to show you this because when you have three statements, right? You have an income statement, you have a balance sheet, and you have cash flow statement. And the income statement follows the GAAP rules. So you have to recognize revenue along with the expenses associated with it. The balance sheet obviously tells you how much cash and liabilities that you have, and the cash flow statement shows you the movement of cash. So there is, different ways of looking at profitability. For example, ideally, when your company is profitable already, then it has a positive net income, and then it has positive operating cash flow from operations, and hopefully also it has positive free cash flow, right? So the cash flow statement starts from cash flow from operating. Starts with a net income. So it starts with net income, and then all kinds of things are added back that are non-cash items, and also changes in current assets and liabilities are also adjusted here. So what you have in front of you is, and it's two separate windows. You have a cash flow statement from the first 6 months, first 2 quarters for Voxtur, and then you have right here on top of it for 9 months. Okay, so ended September 30th, so that's 3 quarters. And if you go to the bottom, cash used in operating activities, you can see that for the 9 months, it's negative $13.4 million, right? And then if you look at the same number during the first 2 quarters or 6 months, it's negative 13.492. This number is bigger than this number, which means that all of the cash flow from operations was negative during the first 2 quarters, and then this one, and you see, it's too bad that they don't break it out. Too bad that they don't just show just cash flow from operations for the third quarter. They bundle it together. But if we subtract these numbers, 13,492 minus 13,443, we can see that cash flow from operations during the third quarter 2022 was positive $49,000. Positive. So it jives together with the EBITDA being almost positive, right? And now, and I was on the conference call and I asked the question of unearned revenue. Remember how I was talking about that the unearned revenue on the balance sheet jumped from 4.4 million to 8.5 million, and I asked Angela on the call if certain revenue wasn't recognized, and she confirmed that about $3 million of revenue that was associated with Jim Albertelli's law firm wasn't recognized, and because of this, revenues declined from quarter to quarter, and if it was recognized, the revenues would have been slightly up, and also EBITDA would have been positive. She confirmed this, and also net income would have been positive, right, for the quarter. Now, the cash flow from operations would have been the same. It wouldn't have changed because the because if net income would have been higher, then the difference between the unearned revenue, which is the current liabilities, would have been reduced, and then it would have netted out. So, but everything would have been like completely in line with each other. Like all the metrics, adjusted EBITDA, net income, and cash flow from operating activities would have literally been positive or zero or almost positive, right? So it's important because the cash flow statement pretty much tells us Voxtur became profitable. Okay, Voxtur became profitable in Q3 2022 in a quarter where revenues declined 6%, during an environment where the real estate transactions are hugely down. And how was it possible? Well, because you see, it's interesting because Voxtur is in a situation where a terrible market is needed in order for the clients to feel incentivized to sign up for Voxtur's solution, right? Because if they have lots of business, lots of volume, they don't feel the urge to look for technologies to become more efficient, right? So the terrible market helps Voxtur sign up more clients, but those clients have lower volume. So even though we have more of those clients have lower volume. But the interesting part will be when the market turns, then Voxtur will have more clients, and then the volume for those clients will grow. And most likely, if let's say they're using AOL and they're using AOL for only part of their volume, and if they become more comfortable and then the product works for them, they will give them even more business out of the volume that they have. So in other words, the volume will increase for the existing clients, which are more of them, and also they will get more business from the same clients, and the volume will go up. But cash flow cash flow from operating activities is used to calculate free cash flow. So you would take this number and you would subtract a capex, right? And if you go to the bottom, or the cash flow from investing activities, and you look at purchase of equipment, there's barely any, right? There's barely any equipment because a business like Voxtur, it's not capital intensive, right? It's not like an apartment building, it's capital intensive, or oil tankers, it's capital intensive. And that's why when the business will eventually become profitable on a free cash flow basis, this cash flow will be valued higher because it's a higher quality cash flow. Also, net income is before capex. So that net income will be more valuable net income because it doesn't have much capex. More of that net income flows to the true bottom line. Because if, let's say, you have a capital intensive business, like let's say you have oil tanker and you have Voxtur, and they have the same net income, those net incomes are not equal to each other. 1 million for Voxtur is a higher quality net income than 1 million from the tankers, because the tankers, from that 1 million, they have to give out a big portion of it for capex, and then the free cash flow is tiny, where in Voxtur's case, they don't have much capex. So the entire net income, most of the net income becomes free cash flow, and that's why that net income is more valuable net income. So anyway, I just wanted to make this video to show you how Voxtur pretty much became profitable based on the cash flow statement.